Welcome to the Book People. I'm Aishwarya Javalgekar, a writer, book editor, podcast producer, and the head of originals at Bound. In this path-breaking podcast, I demystify the publishing and creative industries and uncover the biggest opportunities and challenges for writers in India today. I have an exciting announcement to make. What do India's top publishers and creative companies look for when hiring people for jobs? Number one, how much do you know about the industry and the publishing ecosystem? Number two, do you have any previous experience or certification to show that you're able to understand more about this industry and this job and this company? Number three, proof of skill that you can actually start doing your job from day one and they don't have to spend a lot of time training you, teaching you on the job so that you're able to work. And number four, really good, strong English language grammar skills. Now, I can't help you with number four, but if you need help with the first three, then we have something very exciting for you. So, Bound is launching the Bound Publishing course. This is a 3-month online certificate course where you're going to learn from India's topmost experts about every aspect of book and magazine publishing. Test your newfound skills in a capstone simulation and interview and land your dream job at the biggest companies in India. We have recruitment partners such as Penguin Random House, Notion Press, Cactus Communications, News Laundry, and many more on board to immediately get into interviewing you for job and internship applications. So this course starts on 15 September. Check out the link in the description to get more information about the course and to kickstart your creative career today. Welcome to another episode of The Book People. And in this episode, I'm going to take something new that's happening in the industry that has been announced this very week. And I'm going to look at what this means for writers and for creative professionals in India today. So, a new development took place this week, which I'm very excited to decode and talk about. And I actually also mentioned this on LinkedIn. So, if you don't follow me there, please go follow me there. And I said that I would decode it in this week's episode. So, here I am. So, what has happened is TikTok, right, which is this giant content company which has these short form videos. That company's parent company, which is called ByteDance, has announced that it's going to start its own book publishing arm. So what this means is because TikTok has a lot of Booktok, right? Just like we have Bookstagram, we have Booktube, we have Booktok, and a lot of authors have been promoting their books on Booktok. Readers gather on Booktok, and a lot of self-published authors have been making really good sales on Booktok. And so, with this new publishing arm that TikTok's parent company is going to create, everyone is worried about how this is going to impact authors, how is this going to impact publishers and the industry as a whole. So, what I'm going to look at today is obviously answering this question, which is how is this going to impact the industry? How is this going to impact authors who have been using TikTok primarily to market their books and sell their books? And I want to look at specifically in India, what does this mean? Because TikTok has been banned in India since 2020. So, is this publishing arm going to land up in India? What does this mean for Indian authors and for Indian publishers? So, let's dive in. So let's start with what is TikTok. So like I said, TikTok is this app that allows people to consume and to record and put out short format videos, right? We had Vine, we had Musically, and now we have TikTok. And we mostly see TikTok videos on our Instagram reels or on our YouTube shorts where they're just basically repurposed. But essentially that is the way that the TikTok platform works. And TikTok has a parent company called ByteDance. Now, ByteDance is a Chinese internet technology company which has a lot of different content apps and content platforms. TikTok just being one of them. So they do a bunch of different things, but TikTok in itself has become huge, right? So I think that if I look at the latest numbers, as of 2023, TikTok has been downloaded 3.5 billion times And this is not even counting India, since it is banned in India. So don't even count the giant population that India has. And it has over 1 billion monthly active users. That's a lot, right? So TikTok is obviously doing really, really well. So let's talk about why TikTok got banned in the first place in India. So in 2020, there were some Indo-Chinese skirmishes that were happening at the border. And essentially, the Indian government was worried about TikTok and a few other apps, basically because they're Chinese apps, having, data breach issues or data security issues, or being able to, create manipulated content in some way. And because of that, a lot of apps, including TikTok, were banned. And at that point, TikTok had 150 million monthly active users in India alone. Right. So obviously, we haven't had TikTok for a long time. And at that point, most of the people who were very critical of TikTok's content were, sort of happy or relieved about the fact that TikTok was, no longer doing its thing in India. So it didn't really impact us very adversely in any way. Now, what does all this have to do with books and publishing? So, as TikTok has been growing, every app has its own sub communities. So, TikTok has its own sub community called Booktok, right? Which is, you have writers, you have readers, you have book lovers kind of interacting with each other, the way you have Bookstagram or we have Booktube. So, Booktok started getting a lot of traction. A lot of authors started, promoting their books, doing book trailers, doing book content on TikTok, which was directly leading very heavily to large number of book sales. So literally there have been authors who, just because they became very popular on BookTok and gained a huge following, have been able to write bestsellers and essentially become best-selling authors just because of BookTok. So today, BookTok has over 29 billion views, and you even have big chain bookstores like Barnes and Noble holding exclusive sessions purely for the BookTok community because of how influential it is. I'll tell you some authors as well. So you have Jenny Han, who became famous for her Netflix movies, right? To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which again was originally a book. Then you have Taylor Jenkins Reid, who wrote The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. Again, huge bestsellers internationally. And you have Colleen Hoover, right? I think she's the best example. She has over 1.4 million TikTok followers, and her books have sold over 24 million copies. So clearly there is a direct correlation between, someone becoming very popular on BookTok and someone selling a lot of books. Obviously, this is also true of, people who become influencers on Instagram or on YouTube. But I think TikTok is where people are seeing the most direct and sort of the highest conversion as such from, someone following an author and buying that author's books. So all this brings us to, why is ByteDance entering the industry? So obviously, I think it's pretty clear that, this company already has a clear marketing platform where authors are able to promote their books. So it makes sense to then go and help the authors create the books in the first place. So they are starting a publishing arm called Eighth Note Press, and they are describing this as an ecosystem where people can find, buy, read, review, and discuss books. So essentially, a lot of online marketing services is what they're going to offer, along with obviously royalties and advances. And right now, what they're saying is they're going to mostly be focusing on self published authors, and especially focusing on the genres of fantasy, romance, and mystery. So, highly focused on fiction and highly focused on these three genres, which are the most popular genres on BookTok. Now, obviously, the moment this announcement was made, a lot of people have raised concerns about what does this mean for the TikTok community as well, the book reading and author community as well internationally, and then we'll obviously come to India. Now, authors are the first group of people to be worried because obviously many of these authors have built their entire success off BookTok. Right now, if this publishing arm comes in, obviously we can expect that the company will focus and prioritize on promoting the books that are being sold through this publishing arm, right? Through Eighth Note Press. And then Eighth Note Press authors are the ones that will get more visibility on TikTok, will have more marketing opportunities on TikTok. And so, does this mean that authors who are not signed with this press immediately lose the kind of visibility or the traction that they have built already? And obviously, this will also impact their book sales, right? On the other hand, does it put pressure on the authors that, if they want to keep being successful, or for new authors who are kind of entering the industry, who want to start publishing, does it force them saying that, you have to publish with Eighth Note Press in order to be successful? So is this sort of skewing the industry in some way where this company emerges internationally as almost this, monolith where it says that if you want to guarantee sales, you want to guarantee success as a new author or an author who, doesn't have many books published already, doesn't have a pre-existing sort of huge readership or following, then you have to go with this press if you want to see any kind of sales or success, right? So is it creating almost this new, giant sort of company that will rival your Penguin or your Simon and Schuster or, your biggest sort of multinational giants? So that is, I think, the biggest concern. And obviously, for the publishers themselves, especially traditional publishers, this is sort of a threat, right? Because here is a company coming in to monopolize the publishing market, to take, this huge chunk of sort of fiction writers. But then the question also comes is, if they're going to focus mostly on self-published authors who, as such don't have a big platform to showcase their work, right? So far, most self-published authors only publish on Amazon or, basically through Kindle. So Amazon is one company that has, focused a lot on helping self-published authors put their work out, and that's kind of what they make their money out of as far as publishing is concerned. And so is Eighth Note Press going to be a different version of Amazon essentially in what it's going to do internationally? Is sort of the question that comes up. But on the other hand, if you even look at Wattpad, right? Now, Wattpad is an example of another company that, started a huge content company, started with a lot of crowdsourced stories where people were writing their own stories, publishing them for free on the platform. And Wattpad has also opened its own books division, where it takes the most popular stories from its platform and it puts them out as books or tries to get them converted to screen. And when Wattpad had first announced it, again, it had created this huge wave where people were like, this is going to be the next big thing, and, this is going to take over the industry. But so far, it hasn't really had that level of impact that people expected from it. So it's very much possible that the same thing could happen with Eighth Note Press, where people think that it's going to revolutionize everything and it's going to change everything, but it just ends up becoming one of the, different companies or options in the market. So what does this mean for India? Now, obviously, it's been 2-3 years since TikTok was banned in India, and we haven't really seen a change in that, or I'm not sure if we expect to see a change in this soon. But I think this is going to be one of the biggest factors that define whether this publishing arm even enters India or not. Because if TikTok is its sure short marketing plan and platform, and that platform isn't available in India, then I don't see why the press would, come to India, distribute its books in India, or try to publish Indian authors, and then have to figure out other marketing avenues beyond TikTok as a way to make sure that the book sells. So at this point, there isn't a lot of possibility of this press affecting Indians, in a big way. And also, obviously, we don't even know if the press will be able to come to India in the first place as far as government rules and restrictions are concerned. So I'm not even touching the whole sort of legal aspect of it, because those things are not clear at this point, because they haven't tried. The company as such does not exist and has not tried to do anything in India yet. Right. But even if they could come to India, I think the fact that TikTok does not exist in India would be a huge deterrent for them to enter the Indian market. But obviously, this could change in the future. If TikTok comes to India, TikTok becomes big, then there is definitely a chance of this company coming in and trying to, monopolize again the Indian book industry. But for now, I think that Indian authors are fine, safe. Honestly, though, Indian authors could even want this company to come in, right? Because so many authors that I speak to are worried about how to market their books. They're not sure how to increase their sales, whether they are traditionally published or self published. So, this might be something that Indian authors actually look forward to, where they might think that, hey, is this a platform that I can use to promote my book and make myself a bestseller, like a best-selling author. But again, like, authors are already struggling with the existing social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube, and now you have Threads and Twitter and all of these things. And I think that book marketing is definitely a pain point for Indian authors, but I'm not sure if TikTok or this Eighth Note Press can solve that problem. But on the other hand, for publishers, self publishing is definitely becoming bigger and bigger in India. There was earlier a lot of stigma, I think, about self published books or going the self published route. But we see a lot of new companies coming up, a lot of imprints that are really making publishing accessible. They're democratizing the industry. And we see a lot of new self published imprints coming in, helping authors publish their books. So that is definitely a part of the industry that is growing very actively. And if you want to know more about how this whole self publishing process works, you can check out my conversation with Naveen Valsakumar, who is the CEO of Notion Press. And he sort of breaks down the self publishing process and answers and busts a lot of myths about the self publishing process and that part of the industry. So definitely check out that episode. In conclusion, I think as far as India is concerned, currently this doesn't really impact India in a big way. Maybe we'll see an impact in terms of, international authors and international books sort of coming into the country. But as far as Indian authors are concerned or Indian books are concerned, at this point, Eighth Note Press doesn't have a huge impact on the industry, especially since TikTok isn't really here at this point. But this could totally change in the future. So I hope this really helped decode what exactly is happening in the industry and how this impacts you in the first place. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want me to do more episodes like this, where I take a new update or a new development in the industry and I kind of break it down so that you understand exactly what's going on, let me know. I'm thinking that these episodes will be really helpful for everyone, for the listeners, for the viewers, and for me as well, to sort of really break down what is going on in the industry. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any concerns about books or if you want book related services, if you're a writer, you're a publishing professional, and you're looking to do something around books, you can definitely reach out to me at aishwarya@boundindia.com. And don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn. Keep watching, keep listening to the book people, and I'll see you next week for another episode.